In October of the year 1777, American troops had built two fortifications called Fort Montgomery and Fort Clinton, nearby Bear Mountain, and a long chain across the Hudson River to stop the British from taking control of the Hudson. While the soldiers were working on the breastworks at Fort Montgomery, it was Robert Morrison and his 9-year-old son Hugh Morrison, and they were the regimental surgeons for the 5th New York Regiment.
Robert Morrison was a surgeon's mate, which meant he was an assistant to the surgeon, a regimental surgeon of the 5th New York. A surgeon's mate was basically an assistant, assisting the surgeon with tending to the injured soldiers, dispensing medication, things of that nature. So that was Robert's position, Robert's job. Hugh's job was a waiter to his father, Robert. A waiter was basically a personal assistant, attending to, Hugh would attend to Robert's personal needs in terms of providing him with food, delivering food, taking care of his clothing, taking care of his personal items, and also assisting, if necessary, with some of his medical duties. Hugh mentions that he would pull lint and roll bandages, lint being used to basically as a modern gauze is used today to stop up wounds, and rolling bandages back then were not band-aids like we're familiar with today. They were just long strips of cloth that would be wrapped around an injured limb, for example, and tied off to stop the bleeding.
On the 6th of October, British and Loyalist troops came off the ships and onto shore to attack the enemy. The British and Loyalist regiments were under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Mungo Campbell of the 52nd Regiment of Foot.
Get ready! Get ready! Present! Fire! Fire! Reload!
The battle went on till the sky turned dark. Then the British called a parley, and Lieutenant Colonel Campbell came out with a white flag and talked to the enemy of surrender. The Americans refused, so now they can only fight.
Charge your bayonets! Huzzah! Charge!
When the British got over the fort, Mungo Campbell dies instantly on the scene.
First of all, Mungo Campbell was the 50-year-old Scotsman who was the Lieutenant Colonel Commander of the 52nd Regiment of Foot, one of the two British regular regiments that attacked Fort Montgomery. Like I said, he was a 50-year-old Scotsman, had served in North America during the 7 Years' War out in the Ohio Valley. How he died is, there are varying accounts. One account is that he was shot by long range by riflemen from within Fort Montgomery. Another account says that he was stabbed as he was coming over the wall by an American Continental officer. If that's true, then probably the Continental officer probably would have had a sword, not a musket with a bayonet, and would have stabbed Mungo Campbell as he's coming over the wall with his sword. But again, the two accounts differ, whether he was shot or whether he was stabbed. My personal opinion, and based on the documents, the earlier account written shortly after the battle says that he was again shot from a distance, and I think that's probably the more reasonable account than the later one that said he was stabbed.
During the battle, the wounded were sent to Robert and Hugh Morrison in the main barracks. While Robert was attending the wounded, Hugh got shot in the head, but it was only a flesh wound, so Robert wrapped it up and got back to business. While the battle was still going on, Hugh got separated from his father and had to escape on his own.
Hugh's escape again isn't clear in his pension record that or his pension application that he wrote in 1832, I believe. He just mentions that he escapes from the hospital. We're not sure exactly where that was located within Fort Montgomery. I tend to think it may have been what we call today the main barracks, which was protected by land behind it, so it was somewhat protected down in a ravine, so to speak. He just mentions getting away and making his way to the river with his dad. They both get separated at one point, but they do make it safely across the river and are reunited on the far side.
Whoever didn't escape had to surrender to the enemy. Over 230 years later, Fort Montgomery is now a ruin and well visited around New York State. Many Continental soldiers fought and died on this very field, and those 13 colonies now became the United States of America.